Deputy President of the Executive Committee of the African Parliamentary Union Executive Committee, honorable speakers and heads of delegations, honorable members of the Executive Committee, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to be with you today and to address a warm welcome to all distinguished members who have traveled from various parts of Africa to attend the 61 meeting of the Executive Committee of the African Parliamentary Union, and then after the Conference of Speakers. On behalf of the Parliament of Rwanda, and in my own name, I would like to express our gratitude and thanks to the chairperson, today represented by the First Deputy, and all members of the Executive Committee for choosing our Parliament to host such an important meeting, which precedes the 45th Conference of Speakers that will take also place in this same parliamentary building from 29 to 30 of this month. It is an honor for our country, Rwanda, and for our Parliament in particular, to be with you, eminent delegates, including speakers of national parliaments from sister countries of Africa, our lovely continent. Our special thanks go to the Secretary General and the entire staff of APU for the great job they are doing and for the support they gave to the Parliament of Rwanda in preparing and organizing the meeting. Honorable speakers, honorable members, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the confidence you have placed in our country, Rwanda, will inspire us to play an even more active role in deepening awareness, thus stimulating collaborative effort towards strengthening democracy, gender equality, and respect of fundamental human rights in our respective countries. APU is a platform for consultation, dialogue, and cooperation between its 40 members, namely the national parliaments. The fact that all members are represented in the Executive Committee is unique and should be a unique framework to better fulfill the mission of the organization. You might agree with me, honorables, that in building and strengthening democratic societies, the role of Parliament is critical through its mission of voting laws and overseeing the executive. Parliamentarians, as representatives of the citizens, must always bear in mind that they are accountable to them and must address issues that affect their daily life. The increasing role played by the Parliament in governance reflects profound changes in the relationship between politics, economy, and society. APU Executive Committee should enhance its leadership role vis-à-vis the profile of the organization in Africa and all over the world. Regional and international cooperation, through which countries can exchange experience, is useful. African leaders at all levels, including parliamentarians, have a big role to play in the development of the continent and must think about strategic actions. I have no doubt that with such new perspective, that Africa will be developed by African people. We will get more than we have done during the past years. I do believe that discussions of this executive committee meeting, as well as those of women committee meeting and the conference of speakers that will follow, will be of an added value, and that resolutions which will be adopted will help to push ahead African countries to achieving the objectives of justice, sustainable peace, and development. It's the only way for restoring the sovereignty of Africa and the dignity of its citizens. To conclude, I would ensure all delegates that Rwandan parliamentarians and the entire Rwandan community, we will do our best to make your stay as enjoyable as possible. I wish you fruitful deliberations, and may God bless you all. Thank you for your kind attention.
Your Excellency, the Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, Your Excellency, the President of the Senate, Your Excellencies, Speakers of Parliaments and Heads of Delegation, Honorable Members of the Executive Committee of APU, Honorable Parliamentarians, the Secretary General of APU, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure and honor for me to welcome you warmly to the opening ceremony of the 61st session of the Executive Committee of the African Parliamentary Union. I thank you all for attending this meeting in your numbers. We are meeting here in Kigali at the kind invitation of the authorities of the Parliament of Rwanda. I would therefore like, on behalf of honorable delegates and members of the Executive Committee of APU, and on my own behalf, to sincerely thank Honorable Ms. Rose Nkantabana, Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies of Rwanda, and His Excellency, Dr. Jean Damascene Ntaukuliri Yayo.
Yeah.
I thought Matsongo was a tongue twister, but I think this takes the cup. President of the Senate of Rwanda, who spared no effort to provide us with these excellent working conditions. We also are thankful to the entire Parliament of Rwanda, the authorities, and all the people of Rwanda for the warm and fraternal welcome and hospitality shown us since we arrived in this beautiful country. Please accept our sincere gratitude. Speakers, honorable parliamentarians, ladies and gentlemen, to me, this second session of the 2012 Executive Committee is highly important. At our 60th session held in Addis Ababa from the 29th to the 30th of May 2012, members of the Executive Committee were of the view that with the ongoing rapid developments in our globalized world, the time had come to reflect on the way forward for our organization so that together we would seek the ways and means to give it new impetus. True, in its short existence, the African Parliamentary Union has always promoted representative democracy and strengthening of the role and prestige of parliamentary institutions in Africa. Indeed, the Union has always contributed to achieving the goals of peace and development pursued by the African Union. Today, APU has some 40 member parliaments. This denotes the interest that these institutions have in the organization. However, faced with political, social, economic, and environmental changes in Africa and the world at large, we still need to do more to boost dynamism in our organization. At this juncture, I wish to urge all members of the Executive Committee to seriously focus on contributing to efforts to revamp APU. We must, above all, strive to support the efforts of our organization by bearing in mind that we have to lay out a reform plan that would ensure that nothing would stand in the way of APU contributing more efficiently to the development and progress of our respective countries. Likewise, nothing must impede efforts at ensuring the visibility of our organization at the regional and international levels. To this end, APU should do its utmost to bring all national parliaments in Africa under one parliamentary family whose ideas, opinions, traditions, and cultural expressions may differ, but are guided by the willingness to work together to promote peace and lasting development for our continent. This should be the Union's true calling. This is the import of our first agenda item. I therefore urge you to throw your weight behind the awareness-raising efforts undertaken by the Bureau of the General Secretariat, so that parliaments that have not yet joined us do so as soon as possible. Honorable parliamentarians, ladies and gentlemen, the 61st session of the Executive Committee will be assessing the work done by the General Secretariat when it reviews the implementation of the decisions and recommendations adopted at our previous meetings. On this score, allow me to recall that at the 34th conference held in Khartoum, 2 major resolutions were taken. The first, on the role of parliamentary institutions in strengthening cooperation and solidarity among African countries to promote security, stability, and prosperity in people. And the other on participation of people, especially the youth, in national development with a view to reducing poverty, ending exclusion, and promoting equity. The resolution adopted by the Committee of Women Parliamentarians of APU on promoting women in decision-making. Indeed, it is really important for the national groups to send in their reports on measures taken to the General Secretariat. These reports, which should help foster exchange of ideas among parliaments and also assess the impact of our decisions, as sources of mutual enrichment. I therefore wish to urge national groups to pay due attention to this issue. After considering and adopting all the activities to be carried out by APU in the coming year, which are all detailed in the annual program of work, the meeting will consider the draft budget of the Union for 2013. The budget review is an important step for an organization such as ours. It is all about providing APU with the resources to carry out activities that we have identified. Here again, I would like the APU members to be serious about paying up their contributions to enable us to implement our activity program. We must really put our heart into it if our union is to continue working and growing from strength to strength. The Executive Committee will be called upon to decide on the agenda for the 35th conference and the draft agenda for the 62nd session. Speakers, honorable parliamentarians, ladies and gentlemen, let me end by reiterating my sincere thanks to all parliamentarians present for their support of the ideals of APU and all our invited guests who took part in our meetings. We are also very grateful to the National Group of Rwanda for giving us the opportunity to hold this meeting in Kigali. I wish you all a successful meeting. I thank you for your kind attention and now declare the 61st session of the Executive Committee of the African Parliamentary Union officially open. I thank you.
Les perspectives de sa redynamisation. Je vous propose donc qu'on ajoute ce point à ce projet d'ordre du jour qui vous a été distribué. Ainsi donc, si vous en étiez d'accord, on l'inscrirait en point 5 après l'examen et l'adoption du projet de budget pour l'exercice 2013. Et donc, l'ancien point 5 consistant à examiner le projet d'ordre du jour de la 35e conférence deviendrait le point 6. Et l'ordre du jour de la 62e session du comité exécutif deviendrait le point 7. Et date et lieu de la 62e session du comité exécutif deviendrait le point 8. Voici, Madame la Présidente, l'ordre du jour prévu pour la 61e session du comité exécutif, qui est soumis à l'adoption des honorables membres du comité exécutif. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Il s'agira essentiellement de visiter les terrasses radicales, c'est-à-dire les moyens qui sont utilisés pour lutter contre l'érosion et favoriser une agriculture moderne. Parce que pour ceux qui ne le savent pas, le Rwanda est un pays de montagne avec beaucoup de collines. Et pour cultiver à certains endroits, il faut utiliser des techniques spéciales. Et les terrasses radicales en font partie. Et on pourra aussi voir à cet endroit un camp de réfugiés congolais qui sont établis là-bas. Le deuxième choix, c'est le nord-est, maintenant tout près, à la direction qui va vers le Congo. Et là, nous proposons, c'est un site où il y a des volcans, avec aussi tout près un parc où il y a les gorilles de montagne. On ne pourra pas malheureusement visiter les gorilles de montagne, mais on pourra bien voir les volcans sur la frontière ougandaise et en même temps la frontière congolaise. Et aussi, on en profitera pour visiter un centre d'accueil et de réintégration des anciens combattants, parce que le Rwanda a misé aussi sa politique sur l'intégration de ces anciens combattants qui abandonnent la lutte armée pour s'intégrer dans la vie civile. Et donc ça, c'est le deuxième choix où on pourra visiter ce site-là. Et le troisième choix, c'est le sud du Rwanda, où il s'agira de voir un tout petit peu une certaine partie de la culture rwandaise. On visitera l'ancien musée royal pour voir ce qui composait la cour royale et toute sa culture. Il y aura aussi, je crois, un groupe folklorique qui pourra accueillir les invités à cet endroit-là. Donc, à partir de ces trois sites, le choix vous est libre. Ce que je dirais, c'est que chacun des sites est magnifique. Personne ne regrettera d'avoir choisi l'un ou l'autre.
And so, as I've already been saying that we had different kings, they also had different responsibilities. And this is the actual the photo of the king was shared when he was celebrating
2020 in promoting culture tourism here in Rwanda. Having talked about culture tourism, I wish to tell you that we are recasting that started 3 BC. I believe in Africa, in museums we are not up to date yet. Of the Europeans, and there was only one where they could have the sunbathe. It has massive gardens. Now, honourable speakers, honourable MPs, we are using these gardens for our young ones to promote that culture of the mount. The revenues will be paid, the taxes will be paid, and we shall end up building our own country. So what you are coming here actually has done a great deal of a job in my country, in our country together. And so having talked about history, about the traditional cows, in Rwanda the cows are not actually, allow me to say, I tell you why. My name is called Melissa, the shepherd. My permanent secretary is called Kalisa, a small shepherd. The beautiful wife walks like a cow. She looks like a cow. You can never marry without a cow. In words only. Even when I was a refugee one time, my parents used to marry, they just talk about cows. So cow in Rwanda is not just an animal. Thank you. So you have seen that culture, and then you have seen how the kings lived. Otherwise, that had been destroyed since 1959 to 19.
To be with you again for this important meeting of women parliamentarians from different countries of Africa. For those who arrived only yesterday, I wish a very warm welcome in our country, Rwanda. And for those who have been together with us since the beginning of APU session here in Kigali, I hope you continue to enjoy the hospitality of Rwandan community as a whole and the sisterhood of your counterparts, Rwandan women parliamentarians. During the yet concluded 61st meeting of the Executive Committee, it was highlighted the role of APU as a platform for consultation, dialogue, and cooperation between the 40 members. It is indeed commendable that the statute of APU requires that each member parliament includes among its delegates at least one woman to facilitate the current meeting. Dear sisters, distinguished guests, as you all know, women